race. Let's welcome back Niall Stanage, White House columnist with our partners at The Hill. Niall, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you, Natasha.
So as we heard in Joe Khalil's piece, Governor Sununu aiming his criticism directly at Florida's Ron DeSantis. Will we see more of this as the next year and a half plays out? And is this unusually early to be seeing rhetoric like this?
It is unusually early. We will see more of it. Now, it's unusually early in part because former President Trump fired a very early starting pistol getting into the race just shortly after the midterm elections. But that in turn has really moved up the timetable in a lot of ways. Chris Sununu, as Joe Khalil just mentioned, setting up this pack for a possible run. Lots of speculation about Governor DeSantis, although he wouldn't be expected to announce until May. And Nikki Haley, very likely to get into the race this week. What that means is that everyone is obviously going to be battling for position. Right now it looks like Trump and DeSantis are far and away the big two. But if you're another potential candidate, you want to get in this race, you have to first make an impact. And one of the easiest ways to make an impact in politics is by attacking rivals.
And a new poll shows that former President Trump and DeSantis at the top of that hypothetical list of GOP candidates. And Joe Khalil also showing us that poll that Governor Sununu did not even register on the poll so far. Is making noise the strategy to get some exposure at this point?
I think it is. Now, I have to say, with all due respect to Governor Sununu, I don't see any plausible path for him. He represents a strain of the Republican Party that has been overrun by a more populist tendency. Still, he may well get into the race, and to get at least some attention, he has to create that attention for himself. He's not someone who would be obviously a major candidate. So going after a figure like Ron DeSantis is an easy way to do that. I know Governor Sununu has also been making a lot of talk show appearances. That again is a means of drawing attention, trying to create some kind of buzz. I just feel that the buzz for Governor Sununu is rather low in volume to my mind, Natasha.
Okay, I appreciate that. Let's follow up on what you were just talking about with Nikki Haley. She is expected to announce her White House bid this week. What strengths does she bring? Can she appeal to moderates better than some of her more hardline colleagues?
Well, I think in Nikki Haley's case, what she hopes to do is sort of bridge the gap or bring the more populist figures and the more moderate voters together. She is a conservative. I mean, I don't think there's really any question about that. She adopts a more traditional Republican hawkish position on foreign policy than some of the more Trumpian people. But, you know, she presents a very different face to the party. Governor Haley was the first female governor of South Carolina. She is the daughter of Indian parents. She clearly talks about the fact that the GOP needs to sort of create a bigger tent to draw people in. So she is a distinctive candidate. I do think she has the potential to build up some momentum around her run. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of attention on this presumed launch on Wednesday.
On the other side of the ballot, meanwhile, has the White House given any more indication if and when President Biden will announce a re-election bid?
They haven't given any question or any guidance really about timing, but I think it's pretty clear that it is coming sooner or later. Just in the past few days, for example, we've had the White House Communications Director, Kate Bedingfield, announce that she is leaving but will work as a consultant on a re-election effort. So at this stage, there's no real doubt that the president is going to seek a second term. There is some nervousness among Democratic voters. You can look at a lot of polls saying that a lot of Democrats are not that enthusiastic about a second Biden run, but it's happening, and it's extraordinarily difficult to knock off an incumbent president from within that president's party. So the overwhelming likelihood is that President Biden will be the nominee if he wants to be.
Okay, I appreciate that. Niall Stanage, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.